Hi everyone. I am woman. If you don't know me yet, this is my name is Jennifer, and as I said, I am woman. So if you are coming from my first video, thank you for coming back. Uh, and for hanging around. I know that my energy is a very specific, unique energy. Um, so it's not designed for everyone, although it's very nurturing and loving. Just hearing my voice should be enough to kind of, help people elevate. Thank you for coming back. If you are new on this channel, welcome here. I am writing a blog to help share my path, my story with everyone. So if you resonate on how to navigate different type of traumas or how to confront one shadow, as we'll say, and because I'm not too much versatile with how to make videos and technology in general, so I navigate everything intuitively. Um, so the reading of my first blog has been interrupted. So I'm doing a part two of that reading, and that has led me to even craft and design my videos going forward in this structure, because I feel like in doing it in several parts, I get also to impart and to share my current journey, um, until you guys catch up. We get to know each other a little better as opposed to me just jumping into a reading. So, one of the things that happened yesterday is that I got fired. Yeah, I got fired. Yeah. Before everyone starts sending me, sadness or energy, I haven't determined yet that it's a negative. Um, Although my first impulse was to take it as such, but as I'm being guided on this path, I'm starting to learn that everything actually works out for us. No matter what it is always working out for us. So I want you, whoever is listening, you know so first of all, I just want to say I got fired because I expressed to my boss that I will be shown the same respect I am showing him, and that I do not tolerate anybody speaking to me a certain way or micromanaging me, as long as the work is done efficiently. I have no time for trying to kiss anybody's ass, basically. I just want to pay rent and focus on my blog. I don't have time to soothe anybody's ego. Yes, so as I expressed that, I have found myself let go, because I expressed to HR some of his manipulation and emotional abuses that he inflicts on me. And then a few days later, magically, the work I have been doing is no longer efficient, and yes, I got fired. But I realized I kind of saw, because I have had these masculine energies being imposed on me since a very young age, even, so I feel like yesterday was a big day for me because it made me face my masculine in such a very frightening way, but ultimately just exposed that it was also my perspective and my perception of men that was coming out. I was letting that go, and the intensity with which that day has come at me was quite frightening. So after the job, and I didn't give the pleasure for my boss, because they called me first thing in the morning, right? They disconnected my email, everything. I was like, something is, I kind of see what's coming, but, it's like my ego was just like, how are we gonna pay rent? How are we gonna, it's like, first thing first, I just don't want to cry during the meeting, because they set up that one-on-one meeting and I knew what was happening. It was like, just don't cry. okay? Because I'm intense, I'm very emotional. You get to see it in my blogs. It's like this is a big part of who I am. I am connected to my heart, so I feel things. I'm an empath. There's no running away. This is why I have to be authentic as a person, because this is how you navigate energy. You can only navigate them from a place of truth and accountability. But it seems that everybody approaches truth from a concept as opposed to a reality. And these are the truths that I had to face about myself that I'm sharing. So we get to look at each other from a place of rawness, Yeah, so I will not give him that pleasure of crying as he's announcing a few days after that I was gonna be let go. So I was like, I had a bigger smile, because ultimately, yes, I was getting fired and all, but ultimately, this was still a job. It helped me pay for my rent. So it's like we get confronted with these distractions. And this man, I can see energetically, yes, he wants to show dominance. He wants to show, that he's the boss and, he can get away with it, but I cannot. Yes, I can see the woman, trying to be like raw, but it was a good job. Working from home with a single mom, as a single mom, I had only gratitude in my heart. So I can see my ego from trying to rise up and raw, but I was like, I have done this my whole life. I'm in my mid-40s, and it's like I'm discovering a different way of really roaring, you know in the past it's through screaming and shutting down and putting my armor up, um, but I have discovered a new way of loving myself that is allowing me to accept people the way they are, and just appreciate these experiences and let them guide me wherever it may be, because this is what we call the unknown. People throw these words out there, but we don't really, we get them as a concept, but while you're going through it, really, it's scary, the unknown. It's like, yes, so if I get to speak my heart and be authentic all the time, I can get fired. Yeah, yes, you get fired, but then there's something afterwards. Why cry about it? Why punish ourselves for letting go of things that never serve us? That job, I always, yes, accounting has served me well, because it gets me jobs. I can reboot my career. I'm good at this type of logic. It stimulates my mind. But ultimately, as you will discover, I, I, I navigate energy. I can transmute it. I have always been good at it intuitively. I read people. I can guide. I can. I've been doing this for my friends and family all along, and it's only now, as I am accepting things as they come, learning my own powers, my own gifts, and I want to share them. This is what passionates me. Yeah, so who knows where this firing will guide me. So in getting to that point where I stopped taking it, because I'm a very proud person, I'm organized, I like to know, I have everything cornered and dissect it before I make a move. But so this has been really Mother Nature reaping all these concepts off of me, and it has not been easy. So after that first wave, first thing yesterday morning, the second wave was calling my ex-husband. And then facing, I have always have, it's it's been intense. It's been, yes, you will see. I kind of gave some of the what's to be coming away, but yes, I am divorced. um, so facing this aspect of the masculine yesterday has been non-stop, and in letting him go with love and accountability for the fact that I also has inflicted lots of pain on this person, for I never gave it my heart. I, you know it was, has led me to the next wave, which was calling Derek, my ex-boyfriend. um, that was the hardest. That was this guy. It's like it's been like the depth of love. It has come incrementally through first my job. Yes, there's an attachment there, but doesn't need to fit in a box so I can hold on to this attachment. So I had to let it go. My ex-husband, yes, there's an attachment. We have a kid together. So letting that go, it was like a degree of attachment. But Derek was, wow, that that bond, it's like the the attachment is so deep. And yeah, just it's the realization that feeling something so deep for somebody, does it mean that we have to keep them in a cage? Why can't I just feel that, knowing that they are happy, you know allowing them their own freedom instead of persecution for loving, for being loved by me, you see. um yes, that was a hard lesson, because often enough we associate love with concept of what it's supposed to be like, you know so if I do feel something so deeply for someone, why can it just be enough to feel that? Why does it have to come with all these concepts? Because ultimately those are attachment, and those are prison cells that we create for the people we claim to love so much, you know yeah. So in just coming to those realizations and letting go with pure love, the wave after that was calling my dad. Wow, that that was like, why me? Really, it's when do I get to just stop being punished for just wanting to love, you know? Yes, so yesterday was an intense day. But I feel free, I feel like this version of me is just making space to step in. So who knows what's gonna happen? I'm here now making part 2 of the video, so that's already a positive. Being relaxed enough where I can just invest in my craft, my love, my passion, until I update my resume and see what comes next. But for now, why not make it fun? So if you are out there and you're going through these type of manipulations and controlling energies, just know that you are not alone. You were guided to this video for a reason, and it's all just reflecting a part of you, right? We hear those things in concept, but we don't really know what it means, and this is what I want to share. It's like the distraction is what, when we make it about other people, the distractions are, you know, everybody else having a say in our relationship with our own heart, you know? It's like wasting time in trying to explain to other people where we come from, as opposed to just expressing it and knowing that even if we get rejected, at least we were true to ourselves, you know? At least we are who we claim to be, you know? So let's dive into it. I've decided, as I share my little insights, to separate that from the reading. I will do it with a little gong. So I am doing it. We clear the energy, and I will read part 2 of the Me Time Chronicles. Take it on. The Me Time Chronicles, part 2. I am Mother Ayahuasca, and Mother Ayahuasca is me. In that moment, my physical body suddenly transformed into a blossom of white flowers, and it felt like I was being pulled even deeper within myself. All the colors somehow disappeared. I was conscious of myself. I emerged into what appeared to be an empty and black space, a void. There was no physicality to me, but I was present. There was nothing around except Mother Ayahuasca, who was now a distinct, magnificent, and bright form. This felt normal and very natural, so I did not question it. I felt no fear. I could now clearly see her. What I was seeing is quite hard to describe, but seemed very natural to me then. Her face was a multitude of faces, alternating without end. She was the face of a child, of an adult, of an old person, of a woman, of a man of different races, of different shapes, of different kinds, human, non-human. The alternation between the appearances was happening so seamlessly, I could barely notice it. I just could not identify one specific face to her. The magnitude of her presence was indicated by the sensation of looking up at her. I was conscious of who she was, and no further introductions were needed. She was Mother Ayahuasca. Without hesitation and with pure curiosity, I asked, "What is my purpose and why am I here?" As she approached me, she touched my head and started transferring a wave of information into my mind to answer my question. Overwhelmed by the experience, I exclaimed, screaming, "This is too much! This is too fast! I don't understand any of it!" She abruptly stopped, and I felt my panic soothed by a very comforting sensation of love and compassion emanating from her. She proceeded to touch my head once again, but this time I felt like I was the one transferring the data to her. I got the insight that she was trying to access my current life experiences to gauge my level of understanding, to answer my question. The conversation took place in a purely intuitive manner. No verbal words were exchanged between us. It felt like a different language, but very natural and organic to me. It was effortless. It was an effortless conversation. She observed my love for butterflies and then proceeded to explain. Every life experience you are having, both the good ones and the bad ones, are like the silk needed by the caterpillar to enclose itself in its cocoon to transform into a butterfly. The silk can only be obtained through the detachment of each experience, symbolizing wisdom. The quantity of silk provided by an experience is determined by the depth of emotion felt and the amount of resistance encountered while detaching from it. As enough silk is obtained, the caterpillar will proceed to enclose itself within its cocoon for the transformation to occur. When the butterfly emerges, every experience will be observed from above. She will no longer need to leave any experience from below, like the caterpillar did, but instead will observe them from above with a detached view from the world. Her beauty and wisdom will be spread by the detachment she will bring to any observation and experience. Although on some level that response seemed satisfying, I proceeded to ask, then why did my mom have to die the way she did? And with a very subtle exasperation, as if I seemed to have missed something crucial, this was noted in my psyche as if this point will need to be revisited. She ripped open the area where my stomach would have been if I had a physical body and started pulling out roots. This one represents your mother, this one your father, these ones are your brothers and sisters, and these ones are your friends. They are all rooted in you. You are always connected to them. Your mother finished collecting her silk for her own cocoon and had proceeded to the next stage. She is always part of you, for she is you. You are part of her, just as she is part of you. Do you understand? As I nodded yes in response, she suddenly exploded in laughter and brought me back into the ceremony room. My eyes were now opened and I was back to reality. I was observing several members of my group lost in agony and screaming in pain. Look at them crying about their own growth. They are begging me for it and yet resisting it from happening. She continued in her laughter. I seemed to be looking at their experience through her eyes. I could see them experiencing the suffering they are imposing on their own heart. I joined her in the laughter and pointed out to everyone in the room, just let her in. She is here to help you grow. I now sensed that she was leaving me. She pointed out that I did not need to return to Peru to speak with her, for she was always with me. She pointed out that I did not need to return to Peru with her, for she was always with me. I am rereading. It's okay. I suddenly got up from my seat, as if taken by an impulse, approached the shaman, and connected his forehead with mine with immense reverence, and then proceeded out of the hut. I was not quite sure why I did that, but did not question it. It was with the highest of highs that I shared my experience with the group the next morning. The shaman then clarified that I seemed to have experienced being one with Mother Ayahuasca. I was not quite sure what he meant then, but the experience was better than I expected. It felt like the validation I've been searching for all along. I was right. Yeah. The answer was within, not outside of myself, like everyone presented it to be. Although it felt like a deeper knowledge got unlocked within me, I somehow seemed incapable of deciphering it. There was a message that was given to me, and it was the answer to all my prayers, but I was not quite sure how to access it. I just knew how it felt within. I was heading back home with an innate quiet that I was starting to observe within myself. I had experienced a depth of love that was incomparable to anything I had ever felt in my life. It was pure, unadulterated, and limitless. It was so amazing and effortless. I felt free. How could that be? Am I capable of feeling this every day? On my flight back, I suddenly got the insight that I was able to tap into my subconscious mind directly. I then understood that what the shaman meant by the experience of being one with Mother Ayahuasca. It meant that I became fully connected to my heart and accessed the timeless version of myself, my soul. This higher self was experienced through the ayahuasca as the sheer ecstasy experienced when deciding to love myself. What an interesting observation. I thought I was loving towards myself. In fact, I worked really hard at loving myself. But through the ayahuasca, loving myself felt effortless. My life was comfortable from an external perspective, but agonizing from an internal one. This agony was exactly what was experienced through my inability to connect to the entity of vines of light and flowing with it. I felt like I knew my next step on a subconscious level and needed to tame my egoic mind in accepting what was to come. The ayahuasca experience on some level felt like my subconscious alerting me of my heart calling me home. Thank you. I could sense the fear rising in me. I was scared, very frightened of what was coming. I sensed that I would need to face parts of myself I've been running away from my whole life. I knew that it was now time to deal with this unbearable agony and suffocation that was surfacing the closer I was getting home to John. It was time to stop running away and hiding from my reality. I had to confront my suffocating marriage, and I was scared of what it will expose about myself. In observing what I have been taught, told, and shown to aspire to become, to navigate this world successfully, I have discovered that the world is not set against us. No. By challenging what does not resonate true and figuring out what makes sense to me, and by exposing and confronting my fears, I realized my own involvement in the creation and empowerment of this reality. In observing what my external world is showing me about my inner one, I have been able to initiate and develop a communication channel with my heart, my inner world. I discovered that this channel could keep expanding through the practice of this observation with compassion and nurturing towards myself. It has without doubt allowed me to tap into a reality that is without boundaries and limitations. My hope is that by sharing this journey of how I was able to change the nightmare my life had become into finding the love of my life, everyone gets to discover this very elusive bliss and freedom alluded by wise men. May my journey brighten the path to your own self-discovery and awakening. Here goes. I am woman.